And Kathleen Kennedy really saved Star Wars at this point? Welcome back to Views with Hughes, your agenda-free news. This is Jerome Hughes. Now, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, today I want to dive into a topic that's been on the minds of many Star Wars fans for years. How Star Wars will never recover under Kathleen Kennedy and her leadership, asked and answered. Now, we've seen a lot of ups and downs since Disney took over, but mostly it's been a downhill slide. And let's talk about the failures of the Disney Star Wars films, the unsuccessful shows, and particularly The Acolyte and its creator, Leslye Headland. Now, Leslye Headland, who hasn't even heard anything about the second season yet. But, you know, when Disney bought Lucasfilm back in 2012, thanks to Bob Iger, and Kathleen Kennedy became president, fans had high hopes. The prospect of a new Star Wars shows or movies made people excited, especially with the promise of a new trilogy. But thanks to Kathleen Kennedy, when The Force Awakens hit theaters in 2015, it was actually clear that things were off to a shaky start. Now, the movie did rake in over $1 billion, but it was basically a remake of A New Hope, and it seemed like a safe bet rather than a bad new direction, setting a tone that, the rest of the sequels would follow under Kathleen Kennedy. But then came The Last Jedi, directed by Rian Johnson, under Kathleen Kennedy. And this movie split the fan base like nothing else. Now, some people loved it, for subverting expectations, but many of us felt betrayed. And it took beloved characters and turned them into something unrecognizable. And Kathleen Kennedy liked it. Luke Skywalker, the hero we grew up with, was now a disillusioned recluse who wanted nothing to do with the Force. And I'm sure that's what Kathleen Kennedy wanted, unless Kathleen Kennedy didn't really read the script. Now, the plot was disjointed, filled with, unnecessary side stories that, like the Casino Planet, and controversial moments that felt more like a slap in the face to longtime fans than a thoughtful continuation of the Skywalker saga. But by the time, Rise of Skywalker rolled around, it was clear that there wasn't any plan for the trilogy under Kathleen Kennedy. And J.J. Abrams was just back to try to fix the mess that was left by The Last Jedi, but guess what? The damage was already done. The movie was basically a jumbled mess, desperately trying to tie up loose ends and answer questions that should have been addressed in the previous films. And bringing back Emperor Palpatine out of nowhere felt like basically a last-ditch effort to inject some nostalgia, but only highlighted the lack of a consistent vision under Kathleen Kennedy. And then we also get the big mistake of Solo, a Star Wars story. That was another misstep under Kathleen Kennedy. And the idea of a Han Solo origin story to Kathleen Kennedy sounded good on paper, but the execution was lacking. Now, Solo suffered from the behind-the-scenes drama with the original directors being fired by Kathleen Kennedy and Ron Howard stepping in to finish the job. The result was a movie that nobody asked for, and it showed at the box office, okay? So Solo was the first Star Wars movie to actually lose money, proving that even the most beloved characters couldn't save a poorly planned project. But now, let's talk about the Disney Plus shows. The Mandalorian was a hit, no doubt about it, with the first 2 seasons, but it captured the essence of Star Wars, bringing in the new characters and storylines while respecting the old ones. But the show did introduce us to Grogu, also known as Baby Yoda, who became an instant pop culture icon. But the Mandalorian has been the exception rather than the rule, with season 3 when it bombed. But one of the latest projects Disney Star Wars The Acolyte, created by Leslye Headland under Kathleen Kennedy, was supposed to be big, exciting, new addition to, the Star Wars universe. But guess what? It's just been anything but that. This is Star Wars The Acolyte finale, created by Leslye Headland under Kathleen Kennedy, recently finished, and there's already talk about how we might not even get a second season. And Leslye Headland herself has said that she hasn't heard anything about continuing the series. If that doesn't scream failure, I don't know what does. But look at the other shows that were supposed to breathe new life into Star Wars, like, for example, The Book of Boba Fett, okay? The Book of Boba Fett had a few good moments, but it was largely forgettable. And the story dragged on and on and on, and it failed to capture the excitement and depth that fans expected from the series about such an iconic character. And even Obi-Wan Kenobi had a potential bringing back Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, but it ended up being a disappointment with this inconsistent writing and the different character arcs that didn't even make any sense. Now, the show was riddled with a lot of plot holes and failed to live up to the hype itself. So what's the common denominator of all these failures? Kathleen Kennedy. Now, since Kathleen Kennedy has been president of Lucasfilm, the Kathleen Kennedy leadership has been questionable at best. And Kathleen Kennedy has made decisions that alienate the core fan base, and Kathleen Kennedy seems more interested in pushing certain woke agendas rather than focusing on good storytelling. And under Kathleen Kennedy's watch, we've seen a lack of coherent vision and failure to, understand what makes Star Wars special. All right. And Kathleen Kennedy faced criticism for the failures of the recent Star Wars and Indiana Jones installments. But to save Lucasfilm, I got a few things that Kathleen Kennedy should do. First and foremost, Kathleen Kennedy should focus on the quality and storytelling. Now, the primary concern among fans seems to be like the quality of the stories being told, and focusing on compelling narratives and well-developed characters could help restore the confidence in the franchise. But Kathleen Kennedy also must listen to the feedback of the Star Wars fans. Engaging in fans and taking the feedback into consideration could help Kathleen Kennedy steer future projects in a direction that resonates with the audience. And Kathleen Kennedy must embrace the diversity naturally without sacrificing quality. While diversity is important, it should not become at the expense of storytelling. And finding a balance between representation and quality is a big and crucial thing. Now, Kathleen Kennedy must also develop a new talent, okay? Now, nurturing new writers, directors, and producers could bring fresh perspectives into the franchise and help avoid creative stagnation instead of hiring new writers and stuff that she can control. But Kathleen Kennedy must also take calculated risks. While playing it safe might be seeming best approach, taking calculated risks with new ideas and approaches could help Kathleen Kennedy to lead to innovation and success. And also, Kathleen Kennedy must collaborate with experienced creators. Working with experienced creators who understand the essence of the franchise could help maintain its core identity while pushing boundaries. And if you've actually been a fan of this channel and been tuning in, you know exactly what I mean by what happened before. But Kathleen Kennedy also must learn from past mistakes. Analyzing what went wrong with the last projects and learning from those mistakes are good for the future success for Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. And Kathleen Kennedy must also stay true to the source material. Now, respecting the original source material and staying true to the essence of the franchise itself is crucial for maintaining the Star Wars integrity. Now, Kathleen Kennedy must also embrace technology, where Kathleen Kennedy needed to utilize cutting-edge technology in filmmaking that could create a visually stunning and immersive experiences that captivate audiences. And also, not to mention, Kathleen Kennedy must build a strong team. Surrounding herself with a strong team of creative professionals who share her vision, well, actually, I would have to correct myself on that because she currently has the Lucasfilm Story Group, and even they are a huge failure. Okay, and it shows because of the fact that if Kathleen Kennedy didn't have the current team and stuff who shares her vision and committed to the and who share her vision, isn't necessarily helping out at all. But yeah, other than that, Kathleen Kennedy also has to be transparent. Okay, being open and honest about the creative process and decisions made could help build trust with the fans and the stakeholders. But also, Kathleen Kennedy needs to diversify the portfolio, meaning that she has to expand on the range of projects, and exploring the new IPs could help reduce the reliance on a single franchise and provide opportunities for growth. And while she does that, Kathleen Kennedy need to make sure that those new IPs shouldn't have any kind of political leanings at all. Okay, even if Bob Iger doesn't want that, so what? But under Kathleen Kennedy, Star Wars has become a shadow of its former self. Excuse me. Now, the magic and the wonder that made the original trilogy so special is gone. Star Wars fans are tired of the constant disappointments, and many have simply walked away from the franchise itself. And the decline in the merchandise as well, in the sales and the theme park attendance is a clear indication that the audience is losing interest. So, will Star Wars ever recover under Kathleen Kennedy? Now, honestly, I don't think so. The damage has already been done, and as long as she's at the helm, I doubt that we'll see a return to the glory days of Star Wars as it was under George Lucas. And it's sad state of affairs that the franchise that meant so much to many of us, the only hope is that someday someone with a true passion for Star Wars universe will take over and bring it back to its former glory. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts you might have on this particular topic. If you enjoyed when I shared this video, go ahead and smash the like button, share far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already and you enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification so that way you notify the future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.